The Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the this edition of our Board of County Commissioners meeting. And first things first, I want to congratulate our colleague, Commissioner Dan Doran, for a resounding victory last night. Congratulations. Look forward to working with you again for more years.
Thank you. Thank you. I know my reelection didn't have everything to do with it, but have you seen the stock market today?
I have.
You know, it's proved to me that it didn't.
Wow.
I do want to remind everybody that this is a public meeting. We are being recorded via audio and video, and we are doing a hybrid option under state law requirements. Awards, recognitions, and correspondence other than our congratulations to Commissioner Doran. Commissioner Timmons.
I would just like to recognize the Elections Department.
Absolutely.
Yep.
They did a phenomenal job. All the people that volunteered, the staff, it was a smooth deal. Hats off to them.
I agree.
Absolutely. Just ditto what Commissioner Timmons said. For sure.
Every time I went down to say hi, they were knee deep in it, and they did a fantastic job. So, okay, approval of previous minutes, October 16th, 2024.
And move for approval.
Motion second, all fair the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Any additions to the agenda? Okay. Public input and recognition of visitors. Now would be the time to address the board. If you have anything to discuss, it's not on the agenda. Hearing and seeing none. We'll jump right into our public hearing. So we will suspend our regular meeting and go into public hearing mode for the Gettman Road transfer. With that, I'm assuming staff is going to come up and discuss.
Morning, Commissioners. Tom Fellows, Public Works Director. So this is kind of the last part of the process, the transfer of Gettman Road, and this is the portion of Gettman between the railroad crossing and Highway 207. So it's on the west end of Gettman Road. And what triggered this was the city was planning some more expansion, some more housing out there, and essentially planning on facilities on our county road that we have no standards for. We don't maintain curb, gutter, sidewalk, and sewer. Those are very important things to cities, not so much for the county, and we don't really have the means of maintaining. So had some conversation. The city, at this point, the city's agreed to transfer of that piece of road. We agreed to give it. And this is kind of that last piece for the board to go through this process.
Questions or comments from the public for room or online? Raise your hand or
Yes, my name is Jessica Blakeman, and I live at 795 West Gettman Road. It's the house out there that is back away from the road, but has a large pasture right next to Wolf Run. They sold off for that land for Wolf Run development before we bought it. Now, I have a 5-year-old, and I have a lot of friends in the Wolf Run neighborhood and across the canal there whose kids actually use our field and whatnot to get to their schools. They're major concern of mine having cars flying down that road, so I'm actually really excited for taking over this stretch of Gettman Road. Not only down the road, we would like to have the option to hopefully subdivide out our property. If we're surrounded by subdivision anyway, maybe have some retirement housing or something there in the future would be nice. So I do look forward to those changes. One thing though, as far as like in favor of, yes, we need sidewalks along there, and you are more than welcome to build them on my side of the road. I feel terrible. We have the cross-country kids, all these people walking Gettman Road all the time. And I try and keep up on the goat heads. Terrible, you know, I mean, it's a really horrible stretch of road for people, and it is used by a lot of people. And what's crazy is, you know, I don't know what it is about Gettman, but it's a really easy road to not pay attention closely when you're driving, and you know, it's such a dangerous road, and there is a lot of walkers, and so having anything that we can have there, especially, you know, people flying through the railroad, all that, but the school zone is my biggest concern. If there's any possibility, once the city is in control of it, of extending that school zone to Gettman. I've talked to several neighbors now that would be highly in favor of that. Any signage, any lighting, any intersections, anything we can do to slow it down would be great. So that's just me as a concern.
So you think that moving it from the county to the city is going to slow people down?
Well, I don't think that it's gonna slow people down necessarily, but there will be, I think that people do tend to have, exercise a little more caution when they're driving on roads that do have sidewalks and more signage and things. It doesn't look as rural, and which people tend to fly down, let's be honest. So I do think that that alone will help a little bit. I mean, we haven't seen much of a difference. People were flying down that road when it was gravel. But, you know, at least now they're not flying down that road and getting rocks on you when you're walking on it. So we appreciate the chip seal project that went in. But I do think that, yeah, I know that these are cost prohibitive to do safety measures like this in building on our roads, but it is so important. And I just worry that it's going to take a child getting before something is.
We don't want that to happen.
No. So I do anything we can do for safety there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else want to speak in favor of it, either in the room or online? Hearing, seeing none. Any opposition? Room or online? Seeing none. Any neutral? Seeing none. At this time, we will adjourn our public hearing and go back into our regular meeting. Wishes of the board.
Move to adopt order number RD 2024-06.
Motion is second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Number 2, community corrections upgrade. I don't see Dale.
Riley's.
I think I can just get, thank you. I can speak to this one. Community corrections is looking to upgrade the doors and locks. They've had so many people come and go throughout the years. It's for security purposes. They want to fob the building. They do have it in their budget. It would be general fund dollars. This would be pass-through dollars. So with that, I would actually make a motion to approve that expenditure.
I do have a question. Do you know how many doors this is?
I'd say it's,
Okay.
but it's all the exterior.
The exterior?
Yeah, I think some of the office doors too.
In fact, they're buying 8 readers.
Oh, 8,
There you
okay.
go. Any other questions? Got a motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Number 3, sheriff's office purchase.
Good morning, Commissioners. Paul Overton, Sheriff's Office. What you have before you this morning is our request for an annual purchase of ammunition. This will be for training and duty ammunition for firearms program. As you know, our firearms qualifications are required by the Police Academy for our police certification maintenance and for our skills development of our deputies. This purchase is requested in the amount of $8,051.58. From Dooley Enterprises. Dooley is our sole source provider and gets our law enforcement pricing. This will be ammunition for the entire agency for this year. Any questions I could answer about?
Comments?
No.
How much reserve ammunition do you generally have?
That would be better answered by Eric Palmer, who's our range master.
I mean, not in numbers, but half of this order or?
We probably cycle through about 2/3 of this amount each year. Would be my rough estimate.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Sheriff's Office copiers.
Laura Franks, Administrative Office Manager for the Sheriff's Office. We got to the point where we need to replace 3 of our copiers. Our main one, our jail reception, and dispatch. Our main one has been down for about 3 weeks, and all 3 of them, they can't order any plates for. They're discontinued. So we were told they're about 14 years old. So I remember them being purchased. I don't remember them being 14 years ago, but you know, time flies when you're having fun. So our main copier is sort of functional, but the quality is not there. Dispatch at Wood has been functional. They haven't complained of anything. The reception same, but it's time to replace them. We went out and got 2 different quotes, and as you see, Robert Cole suggested that we go with Canon Solutions America. Better price. Package.
Maybe the commissioners can get your best oldest.
They have lots of copies on them. I mean, you're welcome to have them, but we do have 1 copier in our civil department. We are not going to replace. It's kind of an extra one right now. We're just going to keep it until.
I move for approval.
Motion is second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Sheriff's Office payable. Is that? That's you.
That's me.
I know what this is.
Good morning, Commissioner. Kenny Franks, Gettman. We're asking for a medical bill. We had an individual in our custody that came to us from Idaho that was sentenced in Idaho. While they were here, got an infection, had to be admitted to the hospital right after sentencing. So basically, we were waiting on transporting them back to Idaho because Oregon sentenced them to Idaho time. So we were kind of in the in-between stages. I believe she was in the hospital for 3 days. Our medical staff in the jail called constantly to find out if it was something we could treat or do in the jail for it, but the kind of medications they were given were something that we don't do. They were an IV medications, which the doctor wouldn't even release the person for transport for those days. We kept calling them. We called them 3 or 4 times a day, got ahead of the charge nurse there to find out what could be done. Basically, by the time we were able to transport her, we had to make arrangements to pick this person up after their treatment and get them to Idaho. And they had contacted Idaho so they could continue the treatment. So there was an amount of time that the doctor was okay with them not being around the doctor. So we could get them, we have to take them all the way to Pocatello.
So she was here just long enough to be in the hospital?
It was just bad timing. If it would have been the day she went to the hospital, the next morning she was leaving. But then when she got into the hospital, the doctors didn't think she was fit enough to travel.
Questions or comments?
but I think before I do make a motion, I think it's just a great example to carry in our hip pocket when, like you said, you champion the AOC change in these rules. This is better than a perfect because it involves several different agents. I would move to approve this payable.
Motion is second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Um,
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Well, sheriff's office heavy this morning.
This is a fun one since we've already asked questions on this.
Morning, Commissioners. Josh Roberts, Criminal Division Lieutenant at the Sheriff's Office. As you guys are probably aware, I'm sure you get the complaints as frequently as we do sometimes. Speeding is one of the most common complaints that we receive. They definitely contribute to serious injury and fatal crashes, and so speed enforcement is a vital component of what any police agency does, including the Sheriff's Office. We use two main tools for speed enforcement, that is radar and LIDAR. And for people who aren't familiar with each one, radar uses radio waves to measure vehicle speeds, but it's difficult in a pack of cars to be able to identify which specific vehicle is being picked up by the radar. And that's where LIDAR comes in. LIDAR is laser, and it uses laser beam, and it's what I term vehicle specific. So the officer literally points at the vehicle it wants to read and gets a reading on that specific vehicle. So it takes out the ambiguity when it comes to court. We have 4 LIDAR units currently, but all 4 have failed. They are over 20 years old. They were purchased secondhand from Oregon State Police, and they're old technology. So we're looking to upgrade. We've gone out and sourced different brands. We've tested a few, and the Stalker brand LIDAR seems to be the best fit for us. And so we're requesting purchase of 2 units of Stalker brand LIDARs. Applied Concepts is the company that we got pricing from. So the 2 units total $5,689.32. Request, and I would stand for questions.
First of all, congratulations, Josh, on your victory. I know that you helped the stock market this morning too, so thank you. Congratulations. That's amazing. Anybody that puts their hat in the ring and to do as well and has worked as hard as you did, so congratulations. And the city will definitely benefit. I see the 2-year warranty on this. Are radar guns, are they temperamental, or are they just solid, throw them in the car and go to work?
I mean, you have to take care with them. They can be damaged, and so it's incumbent on officers to be careful with them, but they're not delicate.
Okay.
I mean, they can flop around and take a pretty decent beating. So, as I said, ours are over 20 years old, and they're now failing. We've got a lot of years out of them, and I expect these to be the same.
Do you think traffic violations will go up with these? I mean, should we look at more than just 2 of them?
I am looking at more than 2. I did look at that in light of the budget. We're going to do 2 this year and possibly some more next year. In next year's budget, we're going to expand it. But for right now, I think 2, one on the east side and one on the west side is going to be good. I would expect violations, not speeding to increase, but the amount of offenders that we encounter and hold accountable to increase with this tool, especially with some of our ODOT speed grants and things like that. This is
Right.
a
That's what I was thinking of, the Highway 11 grant.
Yes.
And a couple of those.
Yeah, we'll definitely be using those for those.
I like the idea that you're doing just 2. And that way you can try them out, make sure they're everything that you want.
Yeah.
Go from there. I like that.
This doesn't, I'm glad you brought that up too. This doesn't talk about training. Is there much training to these, or is it just point and go?
So every officer to use radar or LIDAR has to go through, it's statutorily mandated, they have to have an agency-approved training course. The academy puts on such a course, radar and LIDAR usage, and so anybody from our office that is using these will have to have gone through that training.
Is that like a 1 or 2 day course?
It's I don't even remember how long it is. It's an online course now.
Oh,
It
okay.
used to be a 4 or 8 hour training, but now it's an online course.
Gotcha.
I also want to congratulate you on your victory last night. Hermiston is in good hands.
Thank you.
So, and I would ask that whoever's operating the LIDAR unit not point it at Commissioner Timmons' vehicle, because it seems to have a real heavy foot pushing the gas pedal.
That happens.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Highway 11?
Okay, well, anyway,
So we have a motion and a second, right?
No, we
we
don't.
haven't done that.
Oh, I thought we did. Okay, I apologize.
Okay, well, I move to approve the purchase of 2 Stalker brand RLI LiDAR units from Applied Concepts, Inc. for a total price of $5,689.32.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Anthony.
you, Josh. Again, congratulations.
Yeah,
Mm.
you should have known what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
Drone purchase.
Good morning,
Before we
Commissioner.
start, Teddy, I just want to, I'm going to recuse myself. But I can still run it, right? As long as, okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teddy Orr, Umatilla County Weed Department. Trying to upgrade into the 20th century with drones. I went out for RFP. I received 2 bids. One from Advanced Drone out of Milton Freewater, and then Advanced Drone out of Pendleton here, and Agra Spray Drones out of Milton Freewater. And the lower bid come in with Agra Spray Drones. With 30,626.25, and that would be my recommendation. Both bids are very comparable. Same units, the only difference was generators.
Questions or comments?
Not at all. Eddie answered my question, so I'm good.
I think this is amazing what you can do.
It's gonna be a
It
learning
is.
curve.
Next week, we need a report.
Yeah, advanced technology and right.
I wasn't flown yesterday, though. A little windy.
I move to authorize contract for the purchase of 2 drones and related equipment from Agra Spray Drones in the amount of $30,625.
Motion is second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. And for the record, I recuse myself because now that the vote's done, my son works for Advanced Drone. All right. Grant time.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bob Walder, Community Development Director. The next item before you is approving the recommendations of our Community and Economic Development Grant Committee. We met back on October 21st to review grant requests that were submitted for the fall cycle. And we had a total of 10 grant requests that were received. And the committee is recommending funding for 8 of them. And the total amount is $82,400 to be awarded. I'll quickly go over the list of recommended projects to fund. Athena Weston School District, they're doing update they're hoping to build a new pig barn at their school land lab. The funded amount on that one is $20,000. Lockmead, which is a meadery, honey wine meadery in Milton Freewater area. They are doing some tasting room renovations and expansion. The recommendation was to fund $10,000 on that one. Blue Mountain Community Foundation, or Blue Mountain Community College Foundation, they own a property outside of Pendleton, and they're looking to do some upgrades to utilities and irrigation equipment. The recommended funding on that was $10,000. Echo Heritage Association, they're looking to install plumbing at the historic St. Peter's Church. The amount $2,200. EcoScoop Solutions is a regenerative farming incentive. They're a small business that's looking looking for to basically start a composting business. Their request is 3,200. H&P Cafe in Echo is looking to upgrade their hood vent system for their restaurant in the amount of 15,000. Made to Thrive in Hermiston as the Hermiston Oregon Sportsplex. The committee's recommending funding of 7,500 to them. And then the last one is a business in Freewater to do some facade upgrades and replace a bay door on their business for Tyco Body and Paint in the amount of 14,500. Any questions?
First of all, this is by far the funnest committee I get to sit on as a commissioner. It's also one of the harder ones. Bob and his team do an incredibly good job. But if you ever get a chance to sit in through the discussions, the committee is made up of council members from each city. And even though they all have projects that they would like to champion, it never ends up that way. Just as a short story for me, they actually, Echo, had not gotten any grants through this program, through the first 2 years of this program. And their project was championed by the Pendleton City Council. And they go through these, I think I'm pretty thorough. I'm a rookie. These guys go through these grant applications through and through. And I think it's one of the strongest programs we have. We see the smallest amount of money, these lottery dollars, go the furthest. And I'll guarantee you that it is well thought out. And just as this time, they did not spend all the money that was available for a million different reasons. But my congratulations, Bob, for putting this together. And it's been by far one that I enjoy the most. And just to see the things that have come back in the first 2 years of this program is incredible. Robert talks about at times on how do we leverage longevity and meaningfulness out of these dollars. And this program is not on $1 million scale by any means, but for these communities, it is a program that just amazes me every time. And how my view of each project changes during those discussions. So thanks, Bob. And thanks for all the hard work. It's not an easy committee to keep together.
I think, Commissioner Doran, yes, exactly what you said again and again. Some of these, I do know the backstory on, and they're going to be very, very grateful to get this money, just because it'll move their project ahead. And, yeah, that was well said, but thank you, Bob. Yeah.
In a motion.
So move for approval.
Motion is second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Transportation grants.
Morning, Commissioners. So the action before you is to consider, oh, what did I do wrong?
Name and
Oh, I'm Charlie Hotchkiss. I'm a land use planner and the interim public transit coordinator for Umatilla County. So the action before you is to consider and approve the 5310 and 5310 small urban projects. Authorize me to submit the applications to ODOT. The Umatilla County Transportation Advisory Committee met on October 24th of this year to go over the applications, and they recommended approval of the following 5310 and 5310 small urban project amounts. City of Milton Free Water, $96,000 that's the 5310 small urban. And they're the only community within our county that is eligible to apply for the small urban monies. And then City of Hermiston for $159,967. The City of Pendleton for $302,000. And this is to run each of those cities' senior and disabled taxi ticket program.
Questions or comments?
Those of us that were lucky enough to sit through the Transportation Committee and the public hearings and the stakeholder meetings, at least in our region, and listening to the results of Salem, down in Salem, these programs were probably the most touched on out of all of the transportation, even though they're not a huge part of road construction, maintenance, capital projects, all of that. The people that take advantage of these programs are passionate.
And they really need it.
And that's exactly right, Charlie, and I'm glad you said that. And that's the testimony that we heard. Again, another committee that Charlie inherited this, and she has just done an amazing job with this committee. If you look at these numbers and some of the spreads, you know it's not an easy committee to facilitate. And it's not. And I've gotten involved over the years in a couple of the conversations. So thank you, Charlie. Thank you for all your work on this. It's just another program that I think we take advantage of. And hopefully, much like last year, I hope like in 3 months that we get a notice from ODOT that there's additional funding.
That'd be really nice.
I know.
I wouldn't hold your breath on that one this year.
I don't know. It's a different program.
We're a family that used this. My mom had a stroke and they lived out in the country, but they were just within the borders. And so we called the taxi service and they took her uptown for Chinese once a week with all of her friends. And it was a wonderful, wonderful program. You're right. People that use it are passionate about it. That I move to approve the following Umatilla County 5310 and 5310 small urban projects for the listed amount and authorized transit coordinator to submit the application to ODOT. City of Milton Free Water, $96,000. City of Hermiston, $159,967. City of Pendleton, $302,000.
Motion and a second. I also want to echo Commissioner Doran's comments. I know how much work and time and effort you put into this, Charlie, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Supporting
Thanks
this.
for the opportunity.
So well done. Okay, we have a motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'm just gonna stay
Don't go
up
away.
here because I got the next one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this looks like you too, doesn't it?
Again, I'm Charlotte Hotchkiss. I'm a land use planner and the interim public transit coordinator for Umatilla County. This one is to approve a payable to Elkhorn Media Group in the amount of $7,450. This will all be reimbursed to the county through the Highway 11 grant that we had for last year, which ran from May 24th to September 2024. We're running that through that grant cycle. We were able to run a number of different advertising campaigns. And I'm not going to list all of them right now, but it included a radio ad campaign that we ran the entire grant cycle that featured a recording from local Sheriff Terry Rowan, just encouraging people to drive at safe speeds and drive sober. We also ran a pretty heavy social media ad campaign and had an ad on the Elkhorn Media's Roundup, like table placemat thing they give out during Roundup. We did yard signs, but this is just to pay for the Elkhorn Media contract throughout the grant cycle. And we also just got a grant for this next year for the same project, so
Excellent.
Did they tell you how much, or is it
30,000.
30? I was lobbying. Thank you, Charlie. And I do want to say thank you. A lot of our media invoices don't really get processed in a quickly manner sometimes, and we see them all delayed, but as far as media goes, this one moved through pretty quickly, and I thank you for that.
I entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Motion is second. All fair the motion, say
Aye.
aye. Motion carries.
Charlie, do you want to do elections too?
Ask me next year.
Ooh, what's this?
Elections payable. You guys missed your kudos.
I think that we need to, as they come forward, they were both here until 1 o'clock last night.
Riley was here too, and the rest of the
And,
group.
yeah, the team was here, everyone. And, even people that left early left at 11:30. So, yeah, no kidding.
Unbelievable.
I am in awe of you and your staff.
Mhm.
I really am.
And
And the
they were here-
volunteers you put together, well done,
They were here first thing this morning. Yeah,
Yeah,
ready to go.
right?
We implemented, thank you, commissioners, by the way, we appreciate your support and supporting us all the way through this. But also, we implemented a lot of things so we could get out at one, because we ran through over 30,000 ballots, and that takes a lot of time and doing all the checking, and so we actually, I think the last presidential, we were out at 3 or something. We had less ballots processed at that time. So, yeah, a lot of steps we did in improving. But it was crazy. We had 20 people working, or maybe 25 people altogether working down there, so, yeah.
Yes, in the 2020 election, Umatilla County roughly went through 4,000 ballots on election day. Yesterday, we went through 6, which through the office, so.
Yeah, and I want to comment, I stood outside at the ballot box for a couple hours and with Jim, said sir, and it was a line. I mean, it was a steady line of cars. So people, in fact, one woman, she voted and went and got her friend so that she could vote. And everybody was just in a great mood, you know, happy to vote, and yeah, you guys did a great job.
It was a group effort, county IT, human resources.
Yeah, and Kim's an amazing election manager, and she did. Step Kim and Debbie.
What do you have for us this morning?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Steve Crick, and I'm the Elections Record Supervisor for Umatilla County. Before you is a bill from Ben Milling Services in the amount of $7,943.53, and this is basically contracted cost for printing the return envelope and the insertion of the ballot for the November general election.
One question I have, technical question, and if I don't ask it now. Yesterday afternoon at Stafford Council, just before Thorne left, so 5-ish, somewhere around there, we had 2 people come in about the same time that didn't have, they'd lost or gotten rid of their return envelopes. Can we get spare return envelopes that we can hand to people? Is that legal? We finally just had them put them in envelopes and sign the back of them. How do you handle that? Because I bet it happens more than I think it does.
Each one of those return envelopes has a unique correspondence to barcode. It's issued. That's the only way we can keep track of which active ballot packet. We can only have one active. So in order to do that, we would have to have means of connecting to the OCVR, the voter registration, or centralized voter registration, in order to reissue that. Because if they were to lose it,
Including the envelope.
we would have to essentially just replace it or generate a replacement for them.
The envelope also has the attestation saying that they are legally voting, they were the ones, they weren't coerced. They meet the requirements, they have to attest to what they're signing to, so that has to be on the envelope. It's a legal document.
Basically considered part of the poll book now that we're in the vote.
And I always understood that on the ballots. I guess I didn't understand it on the envelope.
Yeah.
So that's-
But we would have to have we would have to have ballots there there is a system where you can print on demand, but you know, it costs a little bit, and
Sure.
there'd have to be an agent there.
And we're
to those
talking
out.
2 people.
So what we would suggest for them to come to Pendleton.
But, and I think the downside there is would they have gotten here by 8 o'clock too?
What time was that, 5 o'clock?
It was 5, but that was just the 2 we talked to.
Sure. I talked to a gentleman out in the hall who ripped his envelope. And so he went downstairs and you guys took care of it.
What do you do with ballots that somebody puts in the ballot box without an envelope? Challenge?
They're not counted, they're just, we just put them in the
Rejected.
stack, and they're rejected.
Just noted up and saying ballot return without a return envelope.
I learned a lot just now, for sure. Thank you. I move for approval.
Got a motion second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, commissioners.
Did you have 2 on there? or the
Yeah, we
next
have
one?
another
What
one.
was the next one?
And I think this one's you.
All right, yeah, you know, it's funny because we have been a steady flow for over a week. So it's been feeling like election day for the last 7 days or something. So we filled these out real quick, and I left Steve's name on a couple and my name on one. So anyway, Dan Lanai, Director of Administrative Services. And before you is the invoice for the OCBR maintenance for, actually, we pay a portion of the cost based on our amount of registered voters for the statewide system, Oregon, OCBR, so Oregon Centralized Voter Registration System, and this is the maintenance we pay. It's actually went down a little bit from last year, and I don't know if that's why it wasn't explained, but it's usually 8,000 last year it was, and now it's down to 72,160, so
It was
7,000.
awfully close to the last one, so I had to do a double take when I was looking at these. Questions or comments? In motion.
Yeah, move.
Motion is second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Don't go anywhere, Dan. I still have elections payable maintenance.
Yeah, so
That's you, Steve. That's you.
that's on the voter call.
This is Steve Cregan, Umatilla County Elections, Record Supervisor. Commissioners, before you is an invoice of $6,168 for Caldwell Sales and Consulting Technologies. This is basically the maintenance contract for our Panasonic return envelope scanner, and also the software licensing for our voter signature checking portion.
It works. You guys accept my signature, so.
I would move for approval.
I'll second. I do have a question though. When all this is said and done, do you put together a total, how much this election cost?
We're actually required by law
Okay.
to figure that out for each election and how much it costs per ballot that was sent, and also how much it costs per ballot cast. And, you know, we don't receive any money this election, but when it's the special districts election, which will be the next May election, we will actually charge back to those special districts based on the same calculation that we use for this election, but it'll be for that. So we're actually required to turn this in to the state. So yes, you'll know, and we'll get you those numbers too, so you can see what the cost was for us to do it.
Okay, got a motion, second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
IT fiber contract. Wonder if that's what Riley's hanging out for in the back?
That is. Good morning, Commissioners. Riley Wortman, IT Manager. Before you is a request to install fiber at our new Bear building. We got a quote from 2 companies. Blue Mountain Networks in Hermiston gave us an estimated $20,000 for the install, and then $800 a month for a 300 down and 300 up circuit on a 3-year contract. The second quote we have is from Inland Development. The original quote from Inland was $30,483.13. They went to their board and requested a discounted price for us, and they came back with an install of $22,000 $862.35. The service would be 100 down and 100 up. Circuit at $150 a month over a 5-year contract. Our recommendation is to go with the inland development since it would be an overall lower cost over time.
You guys for facing that down. Sure.
My limited IT expertise, 100 up and down versus 300 up and down.
So our, currently here at the courthouse, we're running on 100 up and 100 down.
Say no more. Thank you.
They do, so there are other options with inland where we could increase, but with the size of the building, 100 up and 100 down should be more than enough at this
Is there
time.
anything we got going?
If it's doing it here, it'll do it there.
Yeah.
So,
I move for approval of the inland contract.
got a motion, a second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Fair expense, number 15.
I can handle that. Is our expenses, by the Fair Board for their annual, Oregon Fairs Association conference, for lodging, meals, and mileage.
I have a question. Did every fair board member,
I think they did.
did they? Okay.
Yeah. No, yes, because he had to leave early, but John Edvard, he was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I move to approve payment for expenses for the fair manager, fair board travel to and attendance at the Oregon Fairs Association Conference in Redmond in the amount of $6,292.52.
Motion is second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Operation Green Light. I can do this. Oh, you want to do it? Yeah, go ahead.
Sure, I can do this. Operation Green Light is for veterans, and it's in recognition of veterans by lighting buildings and landmarks in green in order, an order documenting the support of the commissioners to Operation Green Light is before the board. And I'm proud to say that maintenance, I contacted Marty, and buildings around Umatilla County have already got green lights on them. I have a green light in my office that I turn on every night so that people can see that. I think it's a great way just to recognize those who have served, our veterans that have served. And it is from now, actually we started about a week ago, and it's now through, I think, the 11th of November. So Veterans Day. So thank you.
We have a motion, a second. Before we call for the vote, I do want to mention that I had a friend of mine who's a veteran reached out and said, hey, is the county doing anything about this? And I thought, should be. And that's kind of what started this. So thank you to our maintenance department for getting that taken care of.
And they got right on it.
Yeah, they
I
did.
mean,
Later that day, they're already changing the bulbs out front. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it was
You
real
know, and they
impressive.
gave us bulbs to put in Milton Free Water and
Yeah.
other buildings around the
There you go.
county, so. yeah.
And on the 12th, we'll put red bulbs with it, call it Christmas.
Okay.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Board payable.
We'll separate. I can do that, yeah. Wolf Depredation Advisory Committee, we went through and reviewed all of these spring, winter, spring. The funding has now been awarded. The payables are for 3 producers to compensate for depredations for 2023 and before the board.
I only have a comment.
Okay.
I understand how much the loss this is to our producers, and unfortunately, this does not cover the loss. I would love it to see if the state legislature wouldn't kind of follow Rep. Levy's lead on this and put more money.
Can't argue that. I move for approval.
Second, I want to make a comment. also, is that you're seeing rules. My daughter had one pass right in front of her the other day going to school, and they live out toward Umatilla. So they're not uncommon. And, thank you, Dan, for sitting on that committee.
We've got a motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. With that, we are at the end of our agenda. Final thoughts, Commissioner Timmons?
Just can't emphasize the thank you to the election department enough.
Stole words right out of my mouth. So, all right, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.